Last year, Ellie De La Cruz, Gunnar Henderson, and several other young hitters broke out and helped you win in fantasy baseball. Who's it going to be this year? Let's take a look. Let's start with the number 1 draft pick from the 2022 draft, number 1 prospect for the Orioles, and the number 1 prospect in all of baseball, honestly. It's Jackson Holliday. There's absolutely no question about the talent, the pedigree, and the path to playing time. The only question really is this guy's only 20 years old, and if you look at him, you could probably figure he passes more for 15. But during the winter meetings, Orioles GM said there's a very strong possibility that Holliday makes the opening day roster. Now, that's very interesting because he's not just going to be out there to showcase what he can do down the road or to try to win a spot. They're already expecting that he is going to be on the roster unless he flops. And this kid has not flopped at all. Hit tool, check. Developing power, check. A little bit of speed. And he slots in at both second or shortstop. This infield is going to be really interesting. They're going to kind of mix and match parts. It doesn't really matter. He's going to qualify middle infielder. He's got 5 tools. He can help you across the board. And in this Orioles offense, which is now one of the best in baseball, yeah, you want to take a shot on a Holiday. Don't worry about the age. Don't worry about the projected path to playing time. I think those answers will resolve themselves. In this era of baseball, age is just a number. So that brings me to another 20-year-old, although this is a player who actually did crack the Major League roster late last year, Junior Caminero of the Tampa Bay Rays. Originally a shortstop, it looks like he slotted for third base in Tampa. Some scouts are calling him a right-handed version of Rafael Devers. The power looks like it might already be there. This guy hit some lasers in his limited time with the Rays last year, and he was raking in the minors. In his 34 at-bats with the Rays late last year, 1 homer, 7 RBIs. Only hit .234, but again, this was his very first taste of the majors, only 20, and he did hit for average every stop of the minors, so that's not a concern. This isn't just a slugger. It used to be that power was plentiful at the hot corner. You know, at a place like second base, shortstop, that's where you're going to have to try to reach a little earlier for those multi-category studs. This year, you might want to go and reach a little bit to get a stud third baseman, but you don't have to with Caminero because there's uncertainty, of course, his age, the playing time, but the upside here is so high. As there's somebody who's going to break out as a rookie in the AL, he has just as good a chance as anybody. Compared to the first 2 players I already talked about, 25 years old almost makes Jonathan Aranda seem like a grizzled veteran. He's got all of 165 at-bats at the major league level, so no rookie status here, but this is somebody who really hasn't had a chance to be an everyday player yet, and he should this year. Now, part of that might have to do with the whole Wander Franco thing. I'm not going to get into all that, but let's just say the Rays might need some help in the middle infield. Aranda was called up to help last year. He only hit .230 with a 30% K rate at the major league level and 103 plate appearances. But this is unusual for him. He did not have a high strikeout rate throughout the minors. He's got power. He's got a good hit tool. And this is someone who can possibly qualify at multiple positions depending on your platform. This Tampa Ray offense, why you want a piece of it, anybody who, even if he doesn't have everyday playing time, if he has at least a part-time role, you want a part of that because Tampa Bay offense, whatever pieces they find to mix and match, it works. This is a team that was 3rd in team average last year and top 5 in runs scored and stolen bases. I believe this year Aranda will get his shot to hold down a regular job, and with the health of Brandon Lowe also being an issue, don't even worry about it. This is definitely a player worth looking at in the later part of your draft. Next, I have to talk about Vaughn Grissom. And look, I'll just say I already had this guy on my list before he got traded to Boston, but now we have even more reason to be in on him. Initially thought he might not have a path to playing time, but Atlanta was talking about moving him to left field. We might see a platoon with Jared Kelenic. And now we don't even have to worry about that. He is going to be the everyday second baseman for the Boston Red Sox. He got traded for Chris Sale, which, look, in the end, this might wind up being a win-win for both teams. We know Atlanta wants some pitching up in the rotation, wants to get over the hump in the postseason, and maybe Sale will be the guy to do that if he can hold up throughout the season. We'll see about that. But look, Grissom is definitely a huge addition for this Boston lineup. This offense kind of struggled at times last year, but if they get all these pieces back healthy like Trevor Story, he can put together a good season. Tristan Casas maybe putting together over a full season. He came on real late last year. And then Grissom, initially slated to hit near the bottom of this lineup, but still, he's going to get everyday playing time. And now he's going to slot in at second base where the part of the problem why he didn't play in Atlanta, it was never his bat. It was just the glove. But second base is the position where he is the best at. And Boston just needs help there. In his limited time in Atlanta, Grissom hit .287 at the major league level, and he has absolutely nothing to prove at AAA. He was killing it, hitting .330 last year. He has power, he has some speed, and most encouraging, that plate discipline, along with that average, he had almost as many walks as strikeouts at AAA. Now he finally will get the at-bats. Grissom is a clear breakout candidate, and at second base no less, so a guy you have to have on your radar. Late last season, we saw Parker Meadows in Detroit come on and earn an everyday job. If you didn't pay attention, then you might not have noticed this. This is now the new leadoff hitter for the Tigers. Between August, September, after his call-up, only hit .232. He did manage 3 home runs and 8 RBIs. Not enough for most fantasy managers to really take notice, put him on the radar for this season as a breakout candidate, but I think that would be a mistake. This is a guy who almost went 20-20 in the minors before his call-up with 19 home runs and 19 stolen bases. And also, as I mentioned in that hitter sleeper video with one of my favorite sleepers also in this Tigers lineup, this is a team that might finally put it together. They've got some pieces on offense. Torkelson finally kind of broke out last year. Riley Green, a hitter I just love. I think he could also take a step forward. You got Meadows hitting in front of those guys. Could have a path to a lot of runs scored. And he's got some pop too. And then finally, this pick, maybe you'll think it's cheating. It's not, because O'Neal Cruz really hasn't had a breakout season yet. I know everybody knows about him already. It's hard not to know about this 6'7" shortstop with freakish power, but you might forget because didn't play the vast majority of last season. It was really a shame early on to see him get that injury and just wipe out any hope we had of a breakout in 23. Let's see if it happens in 24. Cruz has all of 372 at-bats at their major league level, only 32 of which came last year. We know the upside. We saw as a rookie 17 home runs and 10 stolen bases. But we don't really know what he can do over a full season. The average is still a question. Can he hold up over a full season? That's also a question. The lineup itself is question mark. So it's not a sure bet to say that Cruz is going to break out. But obviously talent is there and the upside remains just sky high. Now, I don't recommend reaching on Cruz to assume that he's going to be a top 10 shortstop in fantasy. I might be a bit of a reach. I mean, sure, he could, but again, there is risk here. But obviously, as far as any list that has breakout candidates among hitters, I think he's got to be on it.